actually work.
Exactly. They don't
So, to experience Canada's gun laws firsthand, I'm going through the whole process of getting a firearms license and buying a gun in Canada. My first stop is a gun store just outside of Toronto. Adam gives me the 101 on our laws.
So what brings you today?
Well, I want to become a gun owner.
So basically in Canada, you're going to need to get a firearms license. It's called the possession and acquisition license.
I mean, without one of those licenses, I wouldn't be able to just come in here and purchase one of these guns.
No, of course.
Do you ever get that question? Like, do people ever come in here expecting to be able to buy a gun?
We get people who are more so surprised that you can own these types of firearms in Canada. So this is an AR-15.
Okay.
This is a SL8. It's what we call a 1911.
It looks cool. I like the gold.
That's
What the fuck is that?
This is what's called a Chris Vector. It's a very interesting gun.
So
Chris
what would you
Oh,
be
that's
using
my
this
shit.
for? Other
Yeah,
than
this
like
is-
scaring
this is
people.
Scaring people.
Generally, you don't want to
Scared.
scare people with your firearms.
That's like
In
scaring you.
Canada, we're really limited
scared
in
with a
terms
big
of
dick.
uses for firearms.
Yeah.
Right? You're either going to the range and having fun, or you're going hunting.
So there aren't people here who would be buying a
Guns are
gun
like
for
this.
self-defense.
No, we don't have what are called like castle laws or standard ground laws, if you're familiar with those terms at all from our neighbors to the south.
Right.
By stand your
Us.
ground, Adam is referring to laws in more than 30 U.S. states that allow
allow you
private
to shoot
citizens
back.
to shoot someone if they feel their lives are in danger. 22 states even extend these rights outside the home
Right.
to any public place.
Any. You
By
have Wendy's.
contrast, Canada's
Stand your
self-defense
ground.
laws only allow for
Little
use
man.
of reasonable force,
Stand
which
your
is
ground.
always left to a judge's discretion.
Anyway.
With very few exceptions,
ground.
it's basically never legal to shoot someone.
So we are here like this is a golf store. It's just a different sport.
So before you can even consider buying a gun in Canada, you've got to take a government safety course. But first, I'm heading to a range west of Toronto to check out a popular shooting sport called IPSC, where I'll try out shooting for the first time. I just feel like I'm going to suck. Like, of course I'm going to suck.
Or you could do really well. IPSC is international.
VA loans are arguably the most powerful mortgage product on the market. Here are 5 big reasons why. 1, you can buy without a down.
All right, starting. Let's get it.
Right, I think we're live. We are live. All right, guys, let us know if the audio is okay. We're been playing around with some of the lights, and right now there's nobody in the chat. So this is completely opposite of last night, right?
Yeah, last night everybody
So-
was jumping like crazy.
Here we go.
There you go.
Hey, how's it going, man? Good to see you guys. All right, here we go. We in case you guys don't know who this is sitting next to me, this is Mr. Guns and Gear in the flesh,
Indeed, also known as Mike.
also known as Mike.
For normal people.
And Tim. It's so surprising, man, when we
Yep.
go out into public and we run into folks. And the funniest one ever was I was in an airport, I think at Stateside. I was rushing to make a connecting flight. I came off the jetway right next to a bar in the airport, and the bartender he saw me moving really quick, and he just goes, "Copper Custom!" And I turned around, I'm like, I've never heard that one before. right? And I turned around, I'm like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He goes, "Mac, I'm sorry." And it popped in my head.
It worked.
It worked. It got my attention because it was completely packed. I just hear this person scream, "Copper Custom!" And but yeah. So anyway, it's so weird when you get referred to as Mac or Mr. Guns and Gear, Guns and Gear. It's fun though. I mean, my kids call me Mac now, so.
That's weird.
So we are actually at my place, and Mike was doing some traveling, and this is just soda because everybody asked me if I drink alcohol. I don't.
No.
But anyway,
Wasn't no
they
beer?
were doing some traveling, and
It's
and,
hard to
they
tell,
were
nigga. You
passing
look
back
like a beer
through
drink.
Indiana.
It's like you were born
and,
on beer,
got
so
a
you
text
don't
message
need to
saying,
drink.
"Hey man,
I get it. You
I'm
ain't
gonna be your
gotta
neck
tell
of the
me.
woods. You want to do some
I
stuff?"
don't
I'm like,
lie,
yeah. So he came by. Jason just left a little while ago. We had dinner and kind of winding things down here for the evening. But we thought, what the heck? Let's do a live stream. And so we did one last night over on your channel.
Yep.
And if you don't follow Mr. Guns and Gear, please do that. And I will, after this ends, I'll put a link down below. But so if you guys want to ask us questions, super chats pop immediately. And also if you Military Arms Channel, or it might even be Sturmgewehr. Good luck spelling that if you don't know German.
Understand
And
the
it'll pop in color because
Constitution.
the laptop's sitting quite a ways away from us here.
Understand the
And it's kind of
Constitution.
hard for us to read the stuff.
Sure.
But
That's my
anyway,
birth
so there's, I'm just going to kind of
certificate.
randomly scan
Okay.
through here, look for some questions. If you see something that pops out at you,
Understand that
Well, I was
land
going to say
skin.
while you're scanning, I didn't unfortunately
If
bring
it's not lambskin, it's not
rule
royal.
for Tin Planet because I didn't plan it.
Yeah.
I went around the cooler stuff, but I have practical stuff with me. So
that little Colt you have, I saw, it's actually pretty stinking
that is
cool.
good.
So somebody did at Military Arms Channel, so it's popped in color here, and he's asking what part of Indiana are we in? That's an undisclosed location. So just say that we're kind of mid-state.
We love the internet, but the internet is tracking everything you do. Take control of your online
Say
privacy
it again.
with IPVanish.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
That's good. I agree.
All right, so let's see if you can catch any other questions. So
Sure.
today we were out doing a little bit of shooting. We shot a couple of videos. For the first time, Mike got a chance to shoot the Masada.
Mhm.
Shot the and some of this content's going to pop over on his channel. Shot the M17 from SIG, and then we
Oh, that joint
will
like
be
that.
posting on my channel here soon.
That's like that.
We talked about our get home bags
Right.
because he's traveling with his, and you guys probably already know mine, and so we thought we would compare the guns
Right.
in the bag,
Right.
and it's kind of cool because a lot of the stuff that we believe philosophically with regards to firearms and their usage kind of align.
They did. It was
amazing.
more of a match. That was not planned. Again, I brought
No.
with me what I practically thought I should have, and it did definitely match a little bit as well.
So
I saw somebody
I
asked about
guarantee
the
he has an
Flash
addiction we
Drop
don't know about,
AR9
like
again.
energy drink.
What I thought about
Yeah,
it.
nature
I haven't
distinction.
used it. We talked
You
about that
think
yesterday on my channel.
Hey,
But I didn't-
extremely critically and
So
logical.
we will be posting a video. So I did post a video on the KR9. It's the Vitchez. We got a $5 super chat here really quick. Sup, man? How are you? Live close to Copper Custom. Been waiting to stop by and build my IR pistol. Golos 2 system. Want to help me? Yeah, man. Just make sure you send the guys an email or give the shop a call. Ask for Jason, and make sure I'm going to be in the area because usually I'm only there a couple days a week. So if you're in the area and you want to hang out and do a build, I'll definitely make the time. Thank you for the
You're
super
cool
chat.
as shit.
All right.
You're cool as
So
shit.
KR9. It's
You're real looking.
it's a 9mm AK. It's actually a real Russian military
You're
service weapon.
real, bro.
And-
you know how to work that iron. I love
Did
it.
I even show you the thing?
No.
See, I'm such a bad host. We've been running around like
We
maniacs.
have.
But it's just across the room. I could literally go get it.
It's all
But
good.
it is
I've seen
a
them.
yeah. You've seen the real Vitchez.
Right.
So the SBR version's not nearly as exciting.
Right.
But it is a dead ringer for the Russian service weapon to the point where if it has a problem, it mirrors the actual Russian service weapon. So
Right.
we kind of jokingly say that these things are coming in out of Russia, which would be against sanctions and all that other stuff.
We know it's
not,
coming
but,
out of China.
I mean, they've
not
done such a
Russia,
good job at
because we
KUSA
can't get it. We can't
cloning
even.
this thing that
we
it's
can't purchase it out
it's
of
stunning.
Russia.
I love the
Right.
I mean, it's almost like they have the next
It's
best
Russian,
package.
but we can't
They,
buy
yeah,
it
right.
out of Russia.
Somehow it probably went through 10 different countries and wound
Because
up
we
here.
know how it works.
But
We
yeah,
know
no, it
who
is- it is
sells
a
us the shit.
Absolute fitting clone as much as you can with US law.
We got to go through Canada to get
Got another
Russian.
super chat here, and
If
thank you
y'all
guys very
didn't know,
much. What's your favorite carry
Canada
gun?
usually sells us
Favorite
Russian.
is a tough one.
We were talking about this today at the range, actually.
So this is funny. Once again, we were talking
Super
about
close, especially
I'll try to
SKs.
get to all the super chats.
Right.
We were talking about what guns we thought were duds and wound up being ringers.
Right.
And the 19X came up.
Yep.
We both made fun of it.
I did. I mocked it on
The
social media. I said
19X?
it's backwards, and then I shot it. And I said, "Okay, I'm done."
Yeah.
You win. And the 19X and the 45 are probably my favorite
Nice.
boxes today, and I don't. Every time.
And,
Let me
and,
see.
and so then the conversation goes to, and I said, well, yeah, man, I did the same thing to the G43X. I made fun of it, and then I wind up carrying one like 90% of the time when I'm not carrying a larger handgun like the LTT Beretta outside the waistband, or right now I actually have a 1911 on because we've been outside all
Especially
day
that
and
gun, it
carrying
won't
on private
fail.
land. So
That's why we
it's
go
much
for the
more
gun. It
comfortable
will not
outside the waistband
fail.
carry than a Bendix.
And I said
Why do you
that
think I
carry
got the
mine
gun
all
again?
the time now,
Fuck
too.
you.
After the video,
Dumbass
I
coach
have a
said you
TLR6
want
of mine.
I do too.
Like,
That's why I
okay,
just
well,
like bets.
so-
All you gotta do is run
I
it
just
through
got my
your
custom
doors.
holster.
beforehand.
Yeah.
So
A&R Design is where I got my holster.
It's
Very
as if 5 bullets.
But yeah, I
and
carry that thing all the
then
time. And again, I thought it was
before I
kind of
got
stupid. It's Glock
Red
15
axe.
size, except for width, but
Yeah,
it shoots well and it carries well. So
11 rounds of 9mm, and it's typical Glock reliability. And,
Right.
you know, what's funny is, you know, I love CZ, but I carried a Glock 19 longer than any other handgun ever. I carried one for years and years and years and years. And years.
I carried a Glock 30 for years.
Yo.
Then I got some. But I carried that gun for over a decade, every day, religiously.
Okay, so we got the carry gun. What do you think of the ICE 15 rifle design? Never heard of it.
I don't know what that is.
So you stumped both of us.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
It's
super
not
chat.
carry gun.
Clarify for us.
Remy.
Type at Military Arms Channel and pop. Hopefully we'll catch it.
Yeah,
It was a
I
typo
use
because I've not
these.
heard of an ICE 15.
Gold
before.
dots.
Whoa. Jumped ahead here. All right.
More people are getting it, and it's going faster.
Yeah, it's growing. What suppressor would you recommend for an 18-inch AR-15? So this, I think, look, it's still trying to connect to me. That's so funny. I wish I could just turn that off. Like my computer's trying to connect to my mouse, which is in another room. Anyway, so I
Suppressor for an AR.
yeah. I'm just trying to make sure it stays there because I don't want to lose them. All right, so my favorite suppressor for any gas gun is OSS. For the most part. I mean, there's always exceptions to the rule, but just about any gas gun that I use, I'll run an OSS because I'm trying to avoid getting gas in the face and port pop, which is what's going to ring your ear. But even then, you know, if it meters at 136 decibels or 138 decibels under 140, that's one impact noise, and I think it's a 12 or 24-hour period.
Right.
So it's like if you're doing mag dumps with a suppressor, you're wrecking your hearing.
Yes.
So that's why you'll see me often not wearing hearing protection while doing it. But OSS on a gas gun, and then Griffin Armament, on bolt guns, you'll see me run Griffin all the time. Trying to think.
I wrecked my hearing going to the gun range.
I mean, YHM, I got 2 or 3 of those suppressors are really good.
We know
Air,
the lifestyle.
I've had good luck
We do
with.
it too much.
All
we hear is
What is a VPN? And what can you do with it?
that's all you hear eventually.
There may be other really good ones. It's as good as any.
That's all you
What are
hear.
some of your favorites that you run? Because I know that you run something different on your rifle.
Yep. So some of my favorites, I guess you'd say, Dead Air would absolutely be one of them. Again, I just really love their attachment system. On an 18-inch gun, personally, with a barrel that long, I'd be leaning towards the K model.
18 inches, baby.
Yeah. For most applications, if you just
762 by
have,
51.
like, the most quiet,
not
no
39.
longer can.
Why would you get a
But
AK
gun, in my
rifle
opinion, again, the way I
when you
look at
can
it,
get
I don't
something
need as
big?
much suppression as I would on like a shorter
300 Win mag.
like that. So I'd probably go with like a Sandman K out of that series, just
Right.
because the gun's already long enough and it's
Yeah.
not as loud, at least from the shooter's perspective.
Right.
Other good ones, Surefire's great.
A 300 blackout
sound
is
suppression
louder
is
than
not
it.
the best. However, again,
That's the understanding. It's between an AK and a 300 blackout,
OSS
and that's what I
very
got.
solid as well. The way they
I got a
do
300 Win mag.
gas flow,
I mean, I got 308.
a little bit each time.
Oh,
That's genius.
I love it.
And when I saw that, I was like, somebody was thinking outside the box on that one.
308.
And did it right. OSS is great too. I have
A little bit
other-
bigger than 300.
but
A little bit.
I don't know, there's so many good ones
A
nowadays.
little bit.
You just don't see a lot of back.
There isn't a best suppressor, but
No.
but when it comes to a gas gun, I almost always
Let's
try
charge
OSS
more
first.
bullet.
And just
300
it
Win
just
mag
really
is more
works
bullet,
well.
less
Like
charge.
I have an SBR
Oh,
X95
it's the same exact
and I
thing,
have a little
except for more
OSS
charge.
can on it just to kind of take the edge off because I do keep it next to my bed at
It's
night.
0.8
And,
more bullet.
So
And that's
With
a perfect example. So like
the
I have
same
the
charge.
original before, and that thing will not run with the baffle cam, traditional baffle
When
cam.
you play
It
logistics,
runs so fast that
you
it
know
right, and neither will the
How much?
Ace.
how to
I found that out
how to
right.
make it through.
Yeah, the Ace would it will gas it and it wouldn't run right. Okay,
Most-
so let's see.
Most blacks
ACR,
don't know how to
BCM,
make their own
BCM
bullets,
all the way.
let alone weapons.
So
No hesitation. And I have both.
I do too.
Yeah.
So
Not even a question.
funny
You know how to
story.
make your own bullets. You ain't gonna arrest that.
I have old.
You know you
Wyndham.
can't even get the same.
I used to have
bullet.
2. I traded one like a
Uses the
fool. I
kill
just have one now. It's a flat dark earth. I had the black and I had the flat dark earth, and I traded the black one off. And wish I hadn't done that. But comparing the Wyndham guns to the current generation of Remington guns,
Win the rivalry.
Jason went out and picked up a pistol and talk about a horribly built gun.
Wyndham
Yeah.
is
It
like
is
that.
horrible hack of a gun. And I it sucks because when it was the Masada,
Yeah.
when Magpul had it,
So
it had
much
so much,
potential.
it's so much promise, man.
So much.
AK mags, AR mags. You know, they had everything right.
Mag
got
Core,
handed off.
duh.
And then the bean
That's,
counters took over.
Universal.
Then, you know, you had a Freedom Group acquisition, and it just
Freedom Group is winning
What's
weaponry.
what's
at the
crazy
same
is that was over 10 years ago now.
Right.
And
yesterday.
and they
Right.
just
As far as
came out with
winning
the
weaponry,
300 blackout barrels last year.
Right.
I remember
Thank
4
you.
years ago at SHOT
Thank
Show, they
you.
were showing it in
Thank
the
you.
catalog.
Correct.
Oh yeah, any day now.
It's crazy. And actually, I talked to
I don't
people
even want
who
to
they
turn
probably
it back.
don't
I don't want it. We
so-
know it's not accurate. We
Yeah,
know
they were
you
saying
can't
that
really do
they
nothing
come
with
with
it
missiles
if it's
is
not
very
suppressed.
problematic.
Logistics is
They
100%
took the charging head,
better
made this little
than being
rocking
cool.
lever
I
so
swear
they
to
can
God.
make it ambient.
I'm
It's just
learning
pulling
how to
while
use
cutting
my
one side of
brain.
it off
100%.
because it was just annoying
I'm trying
having
to
it
do
dangling
the
out
cool
there.
thing. Gun and blackout pistol.
Nashville, Gun Collective Nashville next year. Don't
AK-47
know if I'm
pistol.
going to
Y'all
NRAM
niggas
anymore.
want to be cool, but y'all
wait
don't
and
know
see.
how
I'm kind of
accurate that
over
shit
it. So last year I went just to
So
go
when
to
the
the Gun
baby
Collective
ended up
panel.
getting shot,
Took
and
the
it's
family
on the
down,
news, 'cause
and
you
so
wanna
my
be
wife
cool.
and one of my sons were
You
with
wonder
me.
why.
Mike was there, and a
Now
lot of
you
good
know
folks
why.
were there, and I certainly enjoy it. But I didn't go to NRAM. I didn't step foot inside the show. I just went to meet
Because
folks
AK
at
bullets
the
do like
at the
this.
event. I'm just kind of right now
They don't do
not
like
really
this.
wanting to give any publicity to the
They
NRA
do
until
like
they
this.
fix their boat. I mean, Wayne needs to go, so I'm kind of just done with them, and I'm moving on until
When you
they
buy
wipe
traces,
that
you can
ship.
see what they do. It's a big
I
difference.
totally get
You can
why you're doing
trace.
that. And I've obviously thought about that myself. The problem is in the Columbia, I'm
They
sure you
go,
have the same. The Columbia is like I don't have copper cuts.
Low right.
There's nowhere where somebody
every
can
single
just come
time.
Right.
So if you shoot high
so
right,
I do an event
you'll
once a
be
year,
accurate
but
as
outside
well.
of that, be able to see viewers
with
where they
AK
are.
bullet or better.
It's like I want to do that, but do it again. I don't want to support the NRA either. So
With
it's a
the
tough place
knowledge
to
of
be
the
in,
name.
and like SHOT Show.
With the knowledge of
the
knowing
public
how
can't
much that
come for
motherfucker
me.
is going.
So it's tough. But yeah,
You know that
as of
thing gonna
right
kick back,
now,
kick up.
I mean, things are all
Shoot, it's a
fluid. I plan on
cannon.
going just so I can
Literally,
focus
we call
on
it a cannon in
it.
Monster
It's
Lane.
always awesome. I'm sure somebody
You know what I'm
watching this right now
saying?
go on the FPS shows. It's just for me, it's really
you
it's good to see a
understand what I'm
face
saying?
behind the camera because like literally right now we're staring into a camera and all
Yeah.
you guys are seeing us. So that's kind of how we live our lives. So
Right.
when you get to
You're
see
staring at a camera.
the
all
real
over the
people
field.
who are in this
Thank
chat
you.
right now or who are commenting
Alone.
on my videos, it's awesome. But yeah, I agree. It's sad. It's unfortunate that right now the best place to do it is the NRA from a logistics standpoint. If that changes, though, by all means, I would not go. It's a tough spot to be in. It just is.
All right.
And I agree, Wayne must go 100%. That's has to happen.
The thing just jumped forward.
I know,
I'm
I
trying
saw
to get back to where we were. Okay. What mods, if any, do you make the Glock? So I make very few changes. You'll see me change sights, and I may add a light. You'll never see me mess with triggers on carry guns. Very, very rarely. My CZ, I did have a custom trigger job done to the double action to get it to a 6-pound pull. But generally with Glocks, I don't mess with anything. They shoot well out of the box, and I just don't really see much need to go messing with the internals because in my opinion, every single Glock I've seen that's had problems is somebody that's heavily modded it. And so I just kind of roll with it. The sights, a light, and that's about it.
Agreed.
I might put some Talon grips on it. Sorry,
I was just about to say
so
that.
much we agree on.
Yeah, so sights have to go. The plastic ones are a joke, in my opinion. But I love Glocks. Like I said, I have every Glock. I love them. Believe me, Glock does not work with me at all. They hate me. They mean mug me at shows. And that's okay. But yeah, the sights have to go. And I don't do any replacement trigger work. If it's a gun I don't plan on shooting a ton, I will sometimes polish up the trigger, the 25-cent trigger job or whatever. But if I shoot it a bunch, I just know that it'll happen naturally. But yeah, I don't change anything at all. And I agree. The biggest problem I've seen with Glocks over the years is people changing the disconnectors. Folks do a lot of modifications, but that disconnector, for whatever reason, if it's not a Glock one, they seem to break. They just do not last.
Yeah. And keep in mind, when you're talking about a carry gun, you're buying Glock for a reason. You're buying it because of its rugged reliability. And you can accuse them of all sorts of things, feeling like 2x4s, whatever. But the fact remains, it's probably one of the most tested, one of the most issued, one of the most used defensive pistols ever in the history of modern firearms. And messing with that is just inviting trouble, in my opinion. So I don't mess with the internals. So TFX Pro sights, a light, maybe a set of Talon grips. Okay. What do you think of, and thank you for all the super chats, guys. What do you think of the Raging Judge Magnum 454 with inserts for, or is that inserts? Okay. For Shiznit hits the fan apocalypse gun. So, first of all, I'm not a big fan of revolvers. I mean, they were awesome during the First World War. By the Second World War, nobody was using them except those countries that couldn't make enough automatics fast enough. And pilots. Good point. Surprisingly, they continued that into the 80s,
Yes,
man.
they did. My father-in-law was a revolver.
Yeah, it's surprisingly they stuck around because they just want to get rid of them. So I'm not a big fan of revolvers, and I'll let Mike chime in on his thoughts. I'm not a big fan of calibers like .454 because while you can shoot .45 long Colt out of it, and some people are going to be inclined to put shot shells in there, and I think for a defensive type application, that's probably one of the worst things you can possibly do with a .410 out of a pistol. Plenty of tests on the internet. So go watch.
I have one.
But there you go. Go watch Mike's.
Thank you.
It's just not my cup of tea. There's so many other better options, in my opinion, out there.
Really? I like a 454.
You know, go for.
Yeah, so I
Good song.
a handful of revolvers. I love shooting them. I actually do carry small ones pretty often, but I'm a big fan of it. I like big bore guns.
Right,
Torch
44.
from my experience.
44 good salt.
I
44
would
mag.
Go back to
44.
The rest of all
And
brands.
up.
Well,
44
the price point.
Magnum and up.
That
44
one's
Magnum
probably
and
not
up.
on my list,
44
though,
Magnum and up.
just due to weight. And for me, on those guns that are like 410, 45
See?
long Colt,
410, 45,
practical
45 long Colt,
45 long
44 mag,
So,
shit like
when you
that.
go with one that can handle 454, you're just getting so much weight. And I'm
454,
not sure really
so
what you're getting
calm.
back. Now, if you want to
454,
100% have
Yeah,
that. I have
I mean,
like the
454,
review. It's
bore.
literally sitting on a hard drive in the driveway right now. But I have the review on the Smith Wesson 460 coming out, and I love that gun. Every time I shoot it, I laugh, and it's like I'm like 12 again, you know. And so, but am I gonna carry that or use it as a nightstand gun? God, absolutely.
As a candidate, funny story. So Aaron, who did camera work back in the day, we went out, took my 460 Smith & Wesson out, and I took out my little tiny 340 PD scandium frame, 357 Magnum with full house loads in it. Okay. Now, he was nervous about shooting the 460, and that's all that was on his mind. And I had that little pistol in my pocket, and I said, hey, Aaron, shoot this first. And I put a target up. I wish I would have had the phone going in slow motion because he would have knew something was up, is why I didn't do it. And this thing had 158 grain, full house loads in it. And if you've never shot one, imagine a gun that weighs like 2 ounces.
Punching you in the hand.
Yeah, punching you, hitting you with a ball bat, like a pro ball player hitting you in the knuckles with a ball bat. And so he holds this thing with a nice loose target grip and slowly pulls the trigger. And the face he made when that thing rose up in his hands, it was just this contorted face of pain. And he wanted to punch me, man. It's one of those things where you like run from your buddy.
Yeah.
And I said, trust me, man, the 460 is nothing like that. So the first time you tried that 460, he was expecting that little 340 PD has infinitely more recoil than that 460, which is just a big push.
It's much more focused, right? The 3% is very focused in your hand. 460 is a little spread out.
Munches you. So when I say I don't like revolvers, I mean, it's not really true. I have a lot of revolvers. But if given the choice of a revolver to protect myself with over something else, I'll always go for something else. There's nothing wrong with revolvers. And there's a lot of guys out there that, will give me the stink eye because it's like, oh, you hate revolvers. That's just dumb. Well, no, I don't. I have a 340 PD. I have a 460. Right. I have, all sorts of military revolvers, and Webleys and all the Victories and all the stuff like that from various wars. So I do respect them. It's just that if you ask me, will you carry a revolver today as a primary carry? That's all you could ever have. And the lights go out? No.
Yeah,
not my
nothing physically in front of you can do.
Let's see. Hey, Tim, and my question. This was for Tim. The Zukov handguard adapter for the PCC carbine. A few strings back. Going to see that for sale. Good night. Yes, it is coming. It's actually the chassis are in final production, out for anodization. So Copper should be listing them sometime soon. People don't fully understand, and I didn't until I started doing factory tours and started getting involved in small parts manufacturing, how long it takes to produce stuff. Even stuff that you think is simple, like even side adapters, the time it takes to get stuff done, because none of it's being done in-house. You're outsourcing everything to machine shops, and you get samples, you say, no, this isn't right. And then you send it back, you sit back down with the engineers, you go over it again, you make changes, they set up the CNC machine, they run it again. It's just endless cycle. And so finally you have to put the brakes on somewhere and say, if we get to here, this is where we want to be. And, so it's this long process to get even something as what you would seem to think would be simple as a chassis to market, but they are in final machining. That's been done, and we have several hundred units out for anodization. So they should be over at Copper here shortly, but I can't give you a definitive date. Okay.
The photos of those look good though.
Okay. Awesome, bro. Last question. With the recent weird ATF letter that has changed in regards to building an AR pistol, anything that will hinder me?
This is Todd.
Hi.
This is Todd's mom.
Hi.
In a moment, Todd's mom will read her son's internet browsing history.
What?
Aloud, please.
Supermodels on trampolines.com. Why?
If you could read my
Talk about a
hand
moving
history,
target.
I'll blow you up.
ATF is all over the place right
You'll
now.
never exist.
ATF, some
You'll
of
never
we
exist.
talked a little bit about
You
this
hate to
history
be in
last
the
night.
desert in Iraq.
ATF is just arbitrarily just going after bits
and
and pieces where they can. I don't know
At
what's
least-
driving it. You would think under a Republican administration, we would be,
girl, your head
you know,
in
have
Kansas
a
City and
gun-friendly
Walmart.
ATF director, which this
Ties
Canterbury
up
guy is
25,
anything
25
but. He's staunchly
yellow.
anti-gun. And this is who Trump has proposed as the ATF. I don't know if he's been approved yet or not. He's not. But definitely not somebody that we want heading the ATF. But anyway, ATF has just been really beating up
y'all
race
gangsters
companies.
that come
They're going
hollering
after
at
this
my head.
13. Is it 12 and a half or 13
They're
and a half?
saying
my
13 and a half, but
I'll be back. Do it again.
it's vague the way you say it.
Autistic
Right.
bitch. Hurt me if you want to.
So we don't know.
Yeah.
And so neither one of us are lawyers. And I don't want to give you bum legal advice. I mean, we just recently, I saw it pop in the news that some guy just got pinched for the
For
bump
what?
stock. They're going to charge him with an illegal machine gun.
Really?
So
legal
the
machine.
ATF is just doing
What?
really
You got a
erratic
legal
stuff
machine
and
country, you
you
got a
can't
bump stock.
predict what they're going to do,
Right. And I'm
especially when we
trying to
have
work for the
administrations
bitches.
just giving them weird
Let a white
edicts like
fuck
go
be
ban
like, oh,
accessories and
You got bigger
go
guns than
ban
I got.
suppressors
Fuck
and whatever
that.
else Trump said.
Fuck
It's just a weird time we live in right now. So I don't want to give legal advice.
So two sources I will give you on that one is definitely check out the Gun Collective. Adam did a really good summary on that. And then on my channel, I did 2 videos where I go into details. Well, again, I'm not a lawyer, but I do go into detail. So probably combined they're 20 minutes. That would just drag this down. But safe to say, don't put a vertical foregrip on it, and you'll probably be okay. There's fuzz around that.
Yeah. So a lot of people were doing the whole, well, if it's over 26 inches or whatever, then you can put a vert grip on it. ATF said no, you can't. And
then what is a vertical foregrip? It's a rabbit hole.
yeah, is it angled? How?
Right, correct.
So
What's
they
the
got,
angle?
well, if you get your thumb around it, it's a vert grip. At the AFG, you can't get your thumb around, so it's not. But
Correct.
then there's gray areas there.
There is
so
a gray area in the letter.
So again, I'm not giving legal advice. The safe answer is, just don't talk about it. Anyway.
True story. Like
Right?
Right. If you change this, on it
SPC
and make it a specific something like
and will it
this,
catch on again? So we
then
actually
it's
talked about
illegal.
this on the
And
range
it's
today.
knocking on your door.
So
Knocking on your door.
Worthington and their infinite wisdom made the overall length of
And
the
it's
cartridge
illegal.
just a few thousandths too
Just
long, so it doesn't work
small-
in a standard AR-15 magazine. Therefore, that's why we have a firearm
A small
made by
change.
LWRC called the 6.8. And the 6.8 has a slightly longer magazine well, and PMag is AP mag is available from Magpul that's slightly longer that works with the 6.8, so you can properly chamber. Now, that's not to say there aren't standard ARs out there with the right magazine and configuration that don't reliably run 6.8, but you're not going to get
Right.
full
So I don't
blown
got
rounds in a
6.8.
magazine
6.
for all those guns.
Correct. And not with overall length that was envisioned at the time. But yeah, so I have that LWRC and it's in review right now.
I got a 762 by 51.
The
NATO.
cartridge itself. And then we were talking
National
about it versus
Alliance
600 and all
Tactical.
those sorts of things. So
Whatever.
basically, at 300 yards and in, it's an excellent caliber. After that, it starts to drop a little bit. And 6.5 Grendel starts to really excel in that area. Past that, both of them are excellent cartridges in terms of like hunting, medium-sized game, hogs, deer, etc. Big upgrade over 5.6, in my opinion, in terms of lethality and humanity in terms of kills. But do I think it'll catch on again? Maybe. As far as I know, there's 2 military units around the world that have adopted it. So probably isn't going to go away. I don't know if it'll come back large scale. 6.5 Grendel seems to be gaining, but those things ebb and flow.
6.5 Creedmoor is gaining the attention of
Grendel
military
is
circles, and then you have anytime you
Creedmoor.
go with the 6.5 anything, then
Right.
naturally they're going to look at 6.5 Creedmoor. Well, what about 6.5 Grendel, because it fits in the short action AR and literally doubles its effective range. And I would agree that 6.8 really shines out to about 500 yards, and that's where 6.5 Grendel just sprints past it. And so the 6.5 Grendel is a true 1,000-yard caliber. You can get ammunition dirt cheap, so cheap. There is steel case import ammunition for practice that doesn't cost much more than 7.62 by 39.
See how easy
not
you
gonna find
said
that with
those
6.8.
words?
And
Say it again. Talk to me.
Big upgrade over
6.5 Grendel
lethality.
is easily a 1,000-yard caliber.
Do I think it'll catch on again? Maybe. As far as I know, there's 2
Just
military
soak that
units around the
in
world
and
that have
eat it.
adopted it, so it probably isn't going to go away. I don't know if it'll come back large scale. 6.5 Grendel seems to be gaining, but those things ebb and flow.
6.5 Creedmoor is gaining the attention of military circles, and then you have
that's me. I'm in
go
the
with the 6.5 anything. Then naturally they're going to look at 6.5 Creedmoor. Well, what about 6.5 Grendel, because it fits in the short action AR and literally doubles its effective range. And I would agree that 6.8 really shines out to about 500 yards, and that's where 6.5 Grendel just sprints past it. And so the 6.5 Grendel is a true 1,000-yard caliber. You can get ammunition dirt cheap, so cheap. There is steel case import ammunition for practice that doesn't cost much more than 7.62 by 39, and you're not going to find that with 6.8. And it works fine in a standard short action AR-15. You don't need a 6.8 made by LWRC to get it to work properly, but you do need the right magazine to follow it.
Yes, you do. Absolutely. And a lot of times, just on that note, some of the 6.8 mags work well with 6.5 Grendel. I know the D&H ones, in my experience, I have both. The D&H 6.8 mags work really well with 6.5 Grendel.
Thanks, Nick Taylor. Props to both you, sub both. Y'all put out great info. This artilleryman approves. Awesome, brother.
Red legger, huh? I see it.
All right, let's see. Am I the last wheelgun fan? No, there's quite a bit of you. Don't worry, you're not alone. I hear from you guys all the time. Thank you for the super chat. Guys, how are you with polymer receivers for the AR, like the Caster X7? Me, I'm not going to put a polymer anything on the AR-15. I'm going to stick with what's known to work, and that's aluminum.
Right. Thank you.
There are good
Thank
polymer receivers out
you.
there that I've shot.
And people going on aluminum.
With the proper metal inserts,
And that's the
they
first
can be
thing I
very
started with.
durable. However, I don't see the weight benefit being there because you're talking just a few ounces versus going with what I know works and I've had my entire life. So that's the old man in me going, I don't want that polymer junk. I'm sticking with my wood rifle mentality. I mean, the M16 AR-15 is a time-proven, well-established, battle-proven firearm, and I'm not going to go jacking around with polymers on it on a rifle that I might wind up, defending myself with. So if I have my ruthers, no, I'm not going to mess with polymer lowers.
So that would be my answer as well for serious use on defense, self-defense type stuff. However, I will say that my experience has been that if the lower has metal inserts in crucial points, particularly at the rear, and there's other ones throughout, they will run 5.56 calibers well. If you start running other calibers in it that can work in the AR-15, that might be a little higher pressure, might beat the gun up a little bit more. I've seen even the ones with metal inserts crack. So I agree with him. The weight savings is not huge versus aluminum. The main kind of way I look at it as like, well, that kind of makes sense is if you're doing a polymer build, because it is easier for most people with most tools to finish a polymer one than it is aluminum.
Right.
So other than that, no, I'm staying away.
The only other thing I've seen that was of interest to me that they went out of business, but they've been acquired by Fostech was Mag Tactical, and they did like 33.
Yeah, it was like a blend. Yeah,
it was a blend.
I have one.
I have one of the old ones, and it's stupid lightweight, like 4.5 pounds with a pencil barrel, and it's a blend of aluminum and magnesium to the point where you can actually torch cut it. It's not going to burst into flames, and it really reduces the weight of the rifle. It gets it under 4 pounds with no optics or anything. You put optics on it now, I'm sorry, under 5 pounds. 4.5 pounds. It's under 5 pounds. I misspoke. But once you get optics and stuff on it, you're going to be over 5 pounds. But keep in mind, the original AR-15 M16 was just over 6 pounds. So you're shedding literally a pound of weight if you go with their really, really pencil-y barrel, which Fostech isn't going to go to do because the guys at Mag Tactical, I'm pretty sure it's Mag Tactical, Mag Tech, something, but they were making the pencil profiles on their barrels so paper thin that if you put a can on it, you actually get baffle strikes potentially. I mean, they were really pencil thin to the point of being unsafe. And I have one of those old barrels, and it actually shoots pretty darn good. And the gun is super lightweight. That's the only exception. It's not polymer, but here's just a call out that says a P365 XL update. Yeah, I'll get around to it. Some folks beat me up because they say I talk about the P365 too much. Just know that my XL is running fine for me right now.
Just on my 365, the regular, I just crossed 2,000 rounds last week. I still haven't had a problem with it, but I still don't trust it. That's kind of how I feel.
Okay. Raise $5. Thank you very much. Let's see, I need my spectacles here. Thoughts on the Caracal? Oh, here we go. We're talking about this today.
Yes,
we talked about so much stuff. Caracal 816 and the 814 for under $700. What are your thoughts? I have no experience.
So I have both. In my opinion, I like both. Both are brand great. If you watch my videos on them, my opinion, the better sort of bang for the buck is the 816A2. For those who don't know, that's sort of like the 2 generations forward of the HK 416.
Right.
And
HK.
I was skeptical.
No, you
Absolutely, I was on it, and that gun is
So
a beast. It's super accurate. It's not overly gapped. It doesn't beat you up like a 416 does. It's not as heavy, front heavy in the piston system like a 416 is either. And very smooth, great suppressed, unsuppressed. I have nothing but good things to say about that rifle. The way they designed the upper and the handguard is really
12 gauge
smart.
slug is a 7D millimeter.
It's great.
Not
Now
9.
the 814, also a good gun. However, there's a lot like it, if that makes sense, that are in the same market, right? It's got a lot more competitors out there. The 816 is kind of playing in like high-end AR world, giving you some value.
10 times. 10 times is that. 10.
Mistake what I said there, but like a lot of piston ARs are priced higher, right? Just the way it is. And it's playing in that ballpark, and it's a fantastic performer. Whereas the 814, there's a lot more competitive options.
So we have another question about our stream last night when we were talking about 300 Blackout and saying that we believe, based on our mutual experiences over the years with 300 Blackout, that generally speaking, it's not the most accurate of calibers. Gone so far as to even say that it's inherently inaccurate based on the number of firearms we've tried it in. And then we have a super chat. Thank you very much. That says, if you try the Remington Green and the white box 120s, some of those are loaded by Barnes and they're very accurate and worth hunting down. So keep in mind, guys, every 300 Blackout rifle or pistol that I've fired likes a different flavor of ammunition. It's a system, because like Mike could say, hey man, I got some of these, 125s that shoot amazing. And I say, well, I got these 150s that shoot amazing. And we switch the ammunition around between the two guns, and the 150s no longer shoot amazing and the 125s no longer shoot amazing. Correct. It's I don't know what the dynamic is there, but we were doing a lot of shooting with 300 Blackout today. And I think you're going to be surprised with the video that we posted.
I agree with that.
Because we were surprised at what we saw.
And I would also add to that one of the variables that's present in the current market anyway with 300 Blackout, that's not the same with 5.56 and many other cartridges. It's just the wide variety of weight, the wide variety of overall length, the wide variety of barrel twist rates, the wide variety of barrel lengths that are available in the market. So trying to get something that fits all of those variables is tough. I mean, you got barrels from like 1 to 4.5 twist out to like 1 to 9. You'll see the 300 Blackout. And then of course the length affects the stabilization as well as the weight, as well as the overall length. All of those things are huge variables that you see in that caliber you just don't see in others.
And then every once in a while you'll find a certain firearm that just steps out of the mold and does something you just didn't think was possible. And you'll see that in the video that we filmed today. All right, so a super chat saying F commies. Thank you, and we agree. We
had that conversation.
We had that conversation later. Okay, so we have another super chat from Mr. Mays again, and it says, what brand is better, CZ or HK? So guys, look, I can't tell you what is the best brand of anything. It's so subjective, and there's so many good quality manufacturers out there. You need to worry less about brands. Brand is always an important thing. So like HK is typically known for making quality firearms. CZ is typically known for making quality firearms. Beretta is known for making quality firearms. I mean, I can go down the list.
Right.
Glock, right? So you just go on and on and on.
Thank you.
There's tons of good manufacturers out there. So then it boils down to, well, what model will work for me?
Right.
I can't tell you that.
Exactly.
I can't tell you what underwear you're going to like. I can't tell you what kind of vehicle you need to drive.
It's a
But I can tell you what I like. I like the PL1 Compact. That's my favorite CZ.
Individual.
It's the Glock 19 sized pistol. It doesn't hold as many rounds as the Glock 19, but it has better ergonomics, in my opinion.
That's why I like
hands
MP
than the Glock does. So that's why I carry it so often. But and then when you get to HK, we were talking about his experience with P30s. I had completely different experiences with the P30. So it's just a matter of what works for you. So what I highly recommend, and I know this isn't possible in all situations, is to go lay hands on whatever it is that you're looking to purchase, and if possible, see if you can rent it at a local indoor range or outdoor range and fire it and get a feel for it. But at a minimum, put hands on stuff and set aside all these preconceived notions that one brand is grossly better than the other. It's just simply not true. Like the people that like all guns should be Glocks. Nonsense. I mean, if they say that jokingly, then okay, haha. If they say that seriously, look for another opinion. You know, it's like, don't buy into the hype of any one particular brand. Try to set that aside and go looking for something that works for you.
Especially in 2019, we have. I say it on my channel constantly. We are in the golden age of firearms. We are in the golden age of optics. You can get scopes now for $300-400 that 20 years ago would have cost, $3,000 to get similar performance. And guns, I mean, there's so many reliable, well-built guns today that, step back even into like the early 90s and late 80s, that just was not the case.
Yeah.
And now it is. It's normal.
It is. Hopefully the gun laws, we can stave off the wolves. But anyway, so we got another super chat here. I subscribe to you both. Thank you very much. Thank you for the super chat. Love the content. Any thoughts on the Taurus G3? Well, I have a G2.
Taurus G3?
Okay handgun. I know a lot of people rave about it. I know some of them have been shot 50,000 times and made it through the tests. So it seems to be one of Taurus's better, more popular handguns. I'm just lukewarm to it. I don't like the trigger on it whatsoever. But
because it takes too long to dispense the bullet.
That's what you can get. I've had good experience. I haven't had problems with malfunctioning. I haven't had a broken trigger. I know that fancy broken trigger in the cold.
I want to pull it.
It's just I don't like the trigger pull on it. I don't particularly like the way the gun's ergonomics work for me. It just isn't my cup of tea.
That's the dumbest thing you can do with a gun.
I haven't broken 3 of them like I have with P365.
It doesn't cost that cost either. So yeah, I have one. It's just over 1,000 rounds. I had 2 malfunctions. Agreed, trigger pull's not great, but I mean that thing is really close to high point pricing on the street. MSRP isn't, but on the street, that thing gets down pretty low, and it's a very high value gun in my opinion.
So if the G3 is anything like its brethren,
right?
It should be a decent gun for the money.
Right.
So, all right. Are you guys ticked off as me to hear Colt is outsourcing? Drives me crazy. My rule of thumb now with Colt carbines is I have to physically look at it before I buy it. So, I heard that some time ago, and I know that a lot of the guns, historically speaking, that they would reintroduce old models, they were definitely outsourcing those. But I didn't go digging with regards to their AR-15. So when I started looking at the retro line of AR-15s, where they're doing the M16A1 and the CAR-15, I caught wind that those were not being made by Colt; those were being made by a subcontractor, and like they would do with their pocket autos and stuff like that they were reintroducing back in the day. They were doing black powder revolvers, and I have one of them. I have a 44 Army it's cap and ball revolver that has the Colt logo and everything on it. But I think it was made by Pieta or something like that. But it's not marked anywhere on the gun. It just says Colt. So perhaps Mike knows more about the actual state of manufacturing of Colt.
I actually do. I've kind of nerded out on this over the last year or so, because my standard sort of, hey, I have $1,000. I just want a gun that works. What should I get? For years, for me, that was, I would say, 6920. However,
right. I even made a video on that like 6-7 years ago.
Right. Yeah. I did too. And probably 2 years ago now, Colts Union sued. This is really going to become public. What you're talking Colts Union sued, essentially saying that they weren't hiring enough people because they were outsourcing so many parts. And in the lawsuit, it actually lists barrels and several other components. That's public record. You guys can Google it. You can go find it. Then, of course, not long after, guns that were dated, post the lawsuit date started not having C's on the carrier, started not being marked MPC, MT, stuff like that. So a lot of people felt like if I'm buying Colt, I should be getting Colt, right? You should know that it's Colt made, Colt quality that they expect. So, yeah, I think it's absurd. Honestly, if Colt keeps doing that, like they're going to go out of business. That's insane. And then you call and they say, oh, no, we haven't heard anything about that. And you're like, I've seen 40 of those guns on the internet marked like that. Like, what are you talking about? And another guy called and I think I told him, like, oh, that's a normal production variance. I'm like, what? And then, Colt, they have a marketing department. They have a PR department. Like, they could put out a statement. Obviously, we've got a big channel. A lot of people are watching this. A lot more people are going to watch it. A lot of people see this stuff on the forums. They could easily just put out a statement and say, hey, we change our marketing, but they're so cool. They don't. And that's concerning. In my opinion, it's very concerning.
So it used to be that, 20 years ago, that Colt was the gold standard that everybody was trying to meet. And they produced more AR-15s than anybody else in the world when they had the defense contract. But they slowly lost all their defense contracts. They lost the M16 contract, and they lost the M4 contract to FN, and then they had to downsize. I mean, they put all their eggs in the military contract basket. And when that fell apart for them, they didn't focus on the private sector. They got rid of things like the Python, the Anaconda.
The whole custom shop.
Yeah, the whole custom shop. Stuff that people paid premiums for. They got rid of it and focused strictly on the defense side.
You focused on something that I paid $750.
I mean, look, I'm not an MBA, but even I know better than that.
Right. I agree.
So how does this happen? It's a sad state of affairs. I love Colt as a company, but you couldn't give me one of their rifles
Dumb
today.
as fuck.
Outside their retro line, I have an interest in them because they're retro. But there's better guns out there for a fraction of the price, like the Troy guns.
I agree. The
Not
Troy
even
and the Brownells.
And the Brownells guns.
So now,
which is crazy if you think about that.
Yeah,
Colt.
things over
It should be more
$700.
They should know their own history,
Now
right?
But it's not.
$300.
It's not. If you
Right.
get into
Because you
details,
just
it's
need
not.
to let
It's
them
not. I
go.
agree.
So
Sorry about my diatribe there.
I
Or
couldn't go any
$500.
further back. Things lurched forward. I think I lost some super chats because I
let 'em
can't
go.
go any higher here.
Yeah,
So I think we're just so many comments. So I'm sorry if I lost some of you guys. My last name is pronounced Saucies. Either of you have a caliber you like that isn't mainstream. Thanks to both of you for what you do. So I think we kind of touched upon that in the rifle department. For me, 6.5 Grendel is my default standard now. If I go into the field, I'm going to hunt. If I get to choose the rifle, I'm taking an ADM with a 6.5 barrel on it, and I mean it shoots amazingly well. We have a video we're putting together where we have that rifle out at 1,000-yard range. We'll show 1,000-yard shots. You've seen my past hunting videos where I've dropped an Axis buck with the 6.5 6.5 Grendel. Madly in love with that caliber. I just think it's absolutely phenomenal. As far as handguns, and I'm a 9mm guy. I can't even think outside the box there in terms of what I would actually love. I mean, I like the old bottleneck cartridges and stuff like the 7.62 with 25. But I mean,
so
does everybody else.
I guess the oddball one I really like is I have a P90 machine gun. 5.7. That thing is awesome. It's so much fun. It's just a great little gun, great little caliber. Also, on that note, 5.7, my weird love affair with it. The Banshee, the CMMG Banshee, that's one of my most.
Oh, CMMG!
It has no recoil at all, and it's just super.
Fuck, you know about
So
CMMG,
maybe 5.7, I guess. Even though I don't.
Bruh, you don't know shit about CMMG.
Fun, yeah.
But it's fun for sure. Long range, I think one that's gotten lost over the last probably 5 or 6
This
years
is so calm.
is the 338 Lapua. You know, a lot of the
This is so calm,
and
bro.
other sort of hybrid cartridges are coming
They're
out.
so
Those
calm.
are fantastic. They're awesome. That's a great leap in technology. But 338 still gets it done. That is a
338?
great round that will do a lot
What
without a
Duh.
Yep, I just recently dropped a nail
Just
guy
do
with the
anything,
Texas at
it's gonna
200
get
yards.
shit done.
We'll have a video up here, hopefully soon. Another company's doing the editing. But yeah, I got a 200-yard shot with my Desert Tech 338 Lapua, and I mean, these are animals that you call bullet sponges. We've harvested them and plucked out as many as 5 30 caliber bullets from previous hunters shooting the animal, and it survived the gunshot to live on to finally be taken. And I won't even go after them unless I'm shooting at a minimum 300 Win Mag but 338 Lapua will. The downside to 338 Lapua is it damages so much meat.
But yeah,
You hit them in the shoulders, and there's so much energy there that it just blows the whole front quarter section of the animal's wasted meat.
yeah. Sorry, just
No, that was it.
random story. I was out one time in the desert shooting at a mile. We were just practicing that, and we had a 50 cal bolt gun out there. I think it was the Bushmaster, which is a fairly accurate gun. Then we also had a Savage 338 out there. I fired like 20 rounds with the 50 cal, same conditions, same day, back to back. I think I hit like 9. And with a 338, I hit 18. And it was like an 18-inch target. I mean, it was crazy. It was so much the difference in terms of two calibers that are pretty big. So for long range, there's actually hitting something that's relatively smaller.
Why?
See, I hadn't experienced that until I went out to Eric's this summer, and we were shooting. This is what prompted me to get a 338. We were shooting at a mile in Georgia, and watching the trace of that round go up over the tree line, and then watching the wind catch it, and you could see the trace, how much it was drifting. And then they had a lab radar set up, and if you had a 50 foot per second variance, it would translate to a 4 foot difference at a mile. So think about that for a second.
Blood pressure.
Most
I'm red and shit.
Can't
You gonna say it's my emotion?
maintain
Me.
a consistency of
Bitch
50% or
literally
less.
die in front of
You're
you.
gonna see variances
Y'all
at
think
least that
it's
much out of
me?
any factory ammunition. Now with hand
I
loads,
don't
you try to
give a
get
fuck
that
about
down as much as
y'all
you can.
burning hell.
Yeah.
You used
But,
to.
every 10 feet per
Used
second
to
is going to
burn
make
in the
a major difference at a
flames
mile.
of the
Like a
Lord,
Yeah.
Almighty God.
Anyway.
It's insanity.
Shit
Okay.
that you
338 though
got.
still gets it done.
As I
Even with
die
the
in
power, so.
front of your eye.
Okay. Aluminum 3D printers for lowers. Can't wait. Yeah, me too, man. It's coming.
Not far out.
It's almost here.
Yes, it is.
Shit, I literally had to run and turn AC on. Run.
Thank you for the super chat. Best two.
And you wonder why I keep
YouTubers.
shit like this
I'm
with
tired.
me all
Thank
the
you very
time.
much.
I'm talking about a conservative.
Did you
Shit.
see the media release of IWI's new
Not
5.56 rifle?
conservative,
Yeah, so I
nonetheless.
actually caught wind of that before it released, and I was interested because I
Oh, no,
didn't see it.
The big 11.5, right?
Yeah, it's an
I
AR-15.
did see it. Yes, I did.
It's a direct. I'm sorry. It's a gas piston AR-15 that was developed by IWI, and it's going to be interesting to see. I just recently I heard about it. I hadn't seen it. Now I've seen the pictures of it. It's somewhat unconventional looking.
It is.
The cuts are different than what we've seen before in the upper receiver and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see what IWI has done, because one thing I know about IWI, having toured their factory, having used their products for years, is that they are sticklers to make sure things work right. So it's going to be interesting to see what their take is on the piston system, because I'm not a big fan of piston ARs. I'll
Generally,
always
I'm not either.
default to DI if I can.
There's a few.
There's a few I like,
Yeah.
so I do like the HUK. I think it's really, really good. My 6.8, I really like that gun. But but just for an average everyday rifle, I'll default to direct acid.
For the IWR, is that going to be a Israel only gun? Though?
I don't think so, because they were talking about bringing it to the U.S. market, I believe.
Okay.
I don't know if they have any current plans, but I'm sure they will. I mean, because the U.S. market right now is the largest market, so the EU has gone through and forced all of its member states into more gun control. And Switzerland even signed on to some of this gun control voluntarily, even though they're not part of that whole mess. And so now you're seeing a crackdown. All these companies that used to focus on the European market are now panicking, and now they're looking to the United States market, because we're really the last market in the world to market these firearms. So when companies like IWI come out with a new product, naturally they're going to look to the U.S., because if they don't win military contracts, they have to recoup that cost by selling to the civilian world.
Correct. Yeah, but there are some IWI guns that don't come here though, right?
I'm trying to think of some. I mean, in terms of small arms,
I think didn't they make several war variants that never made it here?
there might be variants that don't make it. So like my X95 SBR, factory SBR, it has a different forend on it than the Israeli IDF guns.
Yeah,
they have a rounder handguard.
Right.
So there's different variants.
Okay.
But I think pretty much all the products they can get into the country now, like the Negev and stuff like that, the belt feds.
Right.
You're not going to see. I would love to see a Negev semi-automatic.
Right.
I'd love to see a Negev fully automatic on the US market. That's another story. You guys already know that about me. But yeah, I think they pretty much bring in everything they possibly can. Okay, so please give any info on Bren 2308. Thank you. So when I was in the Czech Republic and shot the Bren 2308, it was a prototype, ran flawlessly, but they said we have no current plans to bring it to the U.S. market, and that's been well over a year ago. Now, they're probably going to bring it to the U.S. market, but I mean,
incidents
CZ doesn't tell
or
me any of their
any
secrets. That was a
extra
media
things to
event, and
report
there's lots of other
at
people there.
all.
So
All
I
is
don't
normal.
know what their plans are. I can't
Period.
tell you.
Nor do I.
Yeah.
So I got nothing there. Sorry.
I love it though. I mean, it was a smooth shooting
It
rifle.
looks great too.
Oh, it's
Looks
phenomenal.
like it's well designed.
I told him, everybody's like the proverbial scar killer. This thing, if it comes in at a good price,
Right,
is really going to be tough to beat.
Man, shut the fuck up. All is clear and no extra things to put here at Ethiopia. No new incident or any extra activity. No violent activity, no suspicious activity, nothing. Period. Nothing. All is clear here at East of the River Shopping Center. Period. Nothing is to report extra. Period. All is clear. Period. Maintaining a clear parking lot and presence in front of all of the shopping centers at East of the River Shopping Center. Period. There were to be observed an individual who did not want medical attention or help whatsoever. Whatsoever. Did not want help and refused medical attention after an assault took place. All is clear at my location, and there is nothing to report. Period. Yeah, dumb white fucks can't understand that. Go to hell. Fuck you. And go kiss a dick with a fucking fat nuts. Oh, I swear to God, I'll be burning now. Small verbal altercations at this moment. Period. Nothing serious at all. At all. From a distance, things were settled. Period. Fuck, I'm almost done putting times on y'all dumbass bitches. Back, back. Man, 67, 78, 89, 9 to what? Much the people say. Fuck. Say what you did. You agree with it. Shit. That is exactly things you know. Use it. You started on the right line, cheat, and still do anything above these lines. You're living with the hell. Boom. God. Nothing. Nothing. I think you going to hell. I can't feel sorry for you if I fuck you up. As a police officer, you already going to hell. You don't give a fuck about nobody around you. How am I going to feel sorry for you? Literally. You're doing the wrong thing on purpose. You don't want to feel sorry for you? This is the reason why it's called hell. Some people do this. Yeah. Free ride. I love you. Yeah, people think hell is free. It's fun. Clocking out and returning weapons with mags, body cam, and radio. Period. Simpson. Simpson. That
Verbal to any owner. The people out there, I've met them, very good people. It's like a family-run business, given its size. That's just weird in today's environment. And I think they make a good product. Now, so
Everybody
if
watching
you
me,
can
I'm not saying
afford, which, you know,
fuck you, bro.